Putting Who Day in Your Day on the Adam and Adams Show.
Marie!
What?
Babe, can you go get me some more Cubanisto? I don't have any more Cubanisto, please.
Pardon? Mais ça va pas ou quoi? Mais va le chercher ton cubanisto. Lui, non? Il est fou, j'y crois pas. Mieux.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Adam and Adams Show in Who Day Lounge. I am joined with my partner in crime, Mr. Cincy de France, Glenn Adams. Glenn, how are you today?
Great, Adam. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm sorry I didn't have a silly nickname for you. I kind of went on the fly. So.
Oh, no.
But I could have thought of something, I'm sure.
Well, I'm joined by my co-host, Adam, a.k.a. I'm not from Memphis.
Okay.
It's going to get repetitive, but...
We're going to beat that drum all day, right?
Yeah, yes, we will.
Okay.
Yes, we shall.
As Todd Rundgren said, bang the drum all day. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, we are, it's going to be a fun show today. Full disclosure, we are not as prepared as maybe we have been in past shows. But
you don't need to know that.
All right, we can edit that out.
Yeah.
Today's show, we are going
I'm not going to edit that.
Today's show, we're going to edit, or excuse me.
Freudian slip.
On today's show, we are going to dissect the Bengals' schedule. We're going to go over their opponents. We're going to give you that list, and then I'm going to make the prediction on wins and loss, and then come up with a final win and loss. So now, with that said, let's kind of take all of this with a grain of salt, because last year I saw the Bengals as a 6-win.
Wait. Adam. Time out. You're losing the plot. You know why everybody's here today, right?
Jeez. We're going to talk about bicycling again.
I'm tired of you disrespecting it by calling bicycling. I know what you're doing it by calling it bicycling. It's not bicycling, it's called cycling. And we are talking about the Giro d'Italia. Mwah. All right, listen, it has been a great race so far. Today's race was thrilling. Today's stage was so thrilling. Crashes. Everybody likes crashes, right? A great finish. I mean, it was great. It was awesome, Adam. And it's just been so exciting. Right now, Juan Pedro Lopez from Spain is in first place. I don't think he's going to stay there. Surprising me is Simon Yates, who's only a minute 42 back, and he's in fourth place. So you got to think, amongst all the favorites, he's the best well-placed rider amongst all the favorites. Yeah, Almeida is 158 back. He's in seventh. Richie Porte, the Australian, he's 204 back, ninth place. I'm sure he can make that up in the mountains. And Romain Bardet, the French hopeful, he's 206 back and in 10th place. Carapaz, my pre-race favorite, he has some catching up to do, and now all of a sudden all the rumors are out that he's open to a transfer next year, which is never a good thing to talk about when you're in the first Giro d'Italia. Usually that stuff comes up in like the second week of the Tour de France, but we're already talking about the transfers and the open days during the Giro d'Italia. He was a pre-race favorite, and maybe he's thinking about transfers already, which is not a good sign for the Tour de France if he represents Team Ineos in the Tour de France. But there's so much going on. I love this time of season. School is almost out. Giro d'Italia, Monaco Grand Prix. I mean, this is awesome. My favorite time of year. Adam, who's going to take home the Maglia Rosa?
I want to see a guy doing this on a unicycle. I think that would be really cool.
Jeez. The disrespect. Adam, I promise everybody out there, give cycling a chance. You will love it. If you don't want to watch the Giro d'Italia, if it's too deep in the woods, even though it's like the AFC and NFC championship games, if that's too deep, in July, there will be the Tour de France. Please, I implore you, please get on that. There's so many great personality storylines, great action, and the beautiful scenery in Italy. Adam, the seaside in Italy has been beautiful. There's no better tourist guide than these major tours, the Giro d'Italia and the Tour de France. It is beautiful, Adam. You would love it just for the scenery alone. And then you get into the action, you would love it. I promise. Unicycle my ass.
All right, fine.
Well, all right, fine, whatever. Let's go.
All right. Check out the cycling stuff, everybody.
Giro.
All right. So the Giro.
Who day in your day on the Adam and Adams show.
All right. So Glenn, did you get a chance to look at the 2022 NFL schedule, most notably our Cincinnati Bengals?
I did, but before we concentrate on the Bengals, I have one question for you. Something that I've been thinking about for years now, many years. Do you think the NFL could support a team in Europe? Would you like to see a team in Europe?
I guess I would answer that with asking you, would Europe be able to support an NFL team?
Would they be able to? Yes. Should they? I'm going to say no. I think, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that, of course, the NFL, of course, it's, I would call it a mania here in the US. Every Sunday, America tunes in to watch their favorite team, Monday Night Football. The ratings have been phenomenal, TV ratings, which means people are watching. I just wonder in Europe if, of course, it would take a while for the NFL to see that sort of fanfare, in a different market, not even different market, a different altogether continent. Do I think it would be good for the NFL? I don't think it would hurt. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool to see another fan base, I guess you would say, root for something like the NFL. But I'm curious to see what you think in terms of how, like I said, how Europe would accept that.
Well, I think Europe already has, like, people here watch the Super Bowl. Like, they might not watch an NFL game, or they might just catch the replay or something on TV and they'll watch it, or they'll catch one of the 7:00 games, well, 1:00 Eastern time games. We'll get to that later. And they will say, hey, I watched that game. What did you think? Oh, Tom Brady's so good, etc. They know the names, they know the players. They don't all know the rules. Mostly they can figure it out pretty quickly, but they don't know all the intricacies to the American football game just yet. And I think they could support it. Like the London, I went with my son to the Bengals game against the Rams, ironically, the last time they were in London. And I just think it was a great crowd, great atmosphere, but there was a lot of fans who were just like, they weren't diehard Bengals fans or Rams fans. You see all types of jerseys because that's the one game that they get to go see, right? So I think there's an excitement around those games in London. There's a lot of excitement in Germany all of a sudden, because this year we got the Seahawks versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are playing in Germany, in Munich, and man, are they hype. Man, spreche die Deutsch? Sehr gut. Nein. They are so hype to have a football game there. And I think that's good at first, but I think some of the polish might wear off once you have a permanent NFL team already there. Like, we already had NFL Europe. I remember the Barcelona Dragons. That was my favorite team. I forget which Bengals player had to go, and I will follow them all the time. But the Barcelona Dragons and the London Monarchs, and I loved it because it was NFL players. So if you could have like some type of developmental, well, that didn't last very long, but I do think there's a hunger for it. I think you want to see a fan base until you don't want to see a European fan base. Because one of the reasons I don't like soccer here is because of the fans. Well, basically, that's a basic reason. So if they get the soccery hooligans, if they get that incorporated with the football, you're not going to like that very much. However, I think they'll be a little bit more well-behaved when it comes to American football. I don't think the players are going to like it. The players, if you play for the London Jaguars, you don't want any part of those taxes. Zero. You think California taxes are bad? Come over here to Europe. You don't want that smoke. So I don't think the players, it depends. They're going to have to work out the taxes. They're going to have to work out how often they have to stay in a country, how much time they have to spend here. Where's the training camp going to be? Is it going to be in London? The players are not going to like that. They might like it for the first week, but dog days of summer, it's hot here too. In Paris, we're already in the middle of a heat wave here in France. That's not going to go over very well. So I think there's a lot of things to consider. I think there's going to be some unintended consequences that people aren't really thinking about right now. So it's going to be tough, but the NFL seems hell bent on doing it and making it happen, and it sounds like a good idea until it isn't.
Yeah, and you make a good point. I mean, there's a lot of logistical concerns when it comes to, you know, what day does the team fly in, you know, because it's gonna require some acclimation to, you know, a completely new time zone, the whole jet lag factor, and, you know, kind of getting your bearings in that new environment. So, I mean, taxes and finances and all that aside, you know, are contracts paid in euros, or are they paid in dollars? I mean, there's a lot to factor in. It seems like a stretch to me, but on the other hand, if we kind of like look at a micro view from where you're sitting, I mean, you have a lot of friends in France that are NFL fans, right? So, you know, maybe there is a sales pitch there for the NFL.
A lot is a bit exaggerated, but there's a few. There's American football here in France. I played in Aix-en-Provence. There are a few teams in Paris, Clermont-Ferrand, Marseille, Toulouse. Toulon is growing. It's getting bigger here. But there surely will be France, because they talked about Paris for next year. I hope that's the Bengals. But they talked about Paris next year, and I'm like, that would be great as a one-off, as a spectacle, as an event. That's a great idea. But let them start talking about putting a Super Bowl in Europe and watch the American fans revolt. And I don't want to sound too much like Donald Trump, but America first. Like, if you start thinking, hey, we have this big fan base in Munich, let's put the Super Bowl in Germany. Even me, who I live in Europe, I don't think that's a good idea, and I wouldn't want to see that. But eventually it would happen, because there's an NFL team in Europe, so it could be a possibility. I wouldn't want that to happen. Could you imagine having a Super Bowl in Paris before there was ever a Super Bowl in Cincinnati?
Yeah, that'd be a tough swallow for sure.
Yeah,
although Cincinnati's never getting a Super Bowl, but
Cincinnati wouldn't, but Paris might.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, you bring up a good point. I'd be curious to see those of you watching at home comment. Let us know your thoughts. So, but moving on, any other points to make on that, Glenn, before we move on?
Well, I'm going to make a lot of them when we talk about the Bengals schedule.
Okay.
That time zone thing. Do we have to talk about the Bengals schedule? I'm depressed. I'm sad. I don't know if you saw on Twitter and Facebook. I didn't wake up to the best of news as far as the Bengals schedule is concerned.
All right, well, let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. And that way, those of you watching at home, you can follow along.
Day in your day on the Adam and Adams Show.
So we're not going to dig into the preseason, but starting with the regular season.
Hold on, wait. Preseason, week 2 at the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
A 1:00 start. 1:00 Eastern time start.
Okay.
That's never happened since I've been living in France.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep. Usually those are like Friday evenings and that sort of thing.
So I am not complaining. It's to be determined here, but I think it's a 1:00 start. I hope it's a 1:00 start. I'm going to love that.
Yep. There you go. So you can, kind of give a glance to some of these younger guys that the Bengals have drafted. Your boy Cordell Volson, Zach Carter, those kind of guys. So, all right. So moving along,
I feel a lot better about Carter than Colson.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. We said that last. We'll see. We're not here to talk about that. We've already covered it. All right. So the thing that first, as a Bengals fan, will slap you right in the face, right between the eyes, is Week 1. Starting with the NFC North rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
AFC North.
Sorry, AFC North. Pittsburgh Steelers at Paul Brown Stadium. So, Glenn, what are your first thoughts?
I am so happy that the Cincinnati Bengals were in the Super Bowl last year, which means I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers will invade Paul Brown Stadium like they used to. I think the Bengals want those tickets. Bengals fans want those tickets. They will have those tickets. They will come out in force. I think the NFL did Cincinnati a great service just to have get that first game against Pittsburgh, because I think there's a lot less chance that Pittsburgh fans are just going to have their run of the place. That's my first thought.
And we remember those days when when you had tickets, when we used to go to those Pittsburgh games and half of the stadium were Steelers fans. So that's a great point.
And the other half was empty.
Right. So I'm going to go ahead and make the prediction. I think the Bengals, they set the tone early. They play a Steelers team who they beat twice last year. This is a Steelers team that's a little better, not a lot better, in my opinion. So I think the Bengals take care of business and they get their first win of the year. So they start off 1-0. What are your thoughts?
I hate prediction. Dude, it is May. And we're talking about wins and losses already. Dude, I like the schedule talk. I don't want to talk tie. It's going to be a tie.
All right. Week 2, traveling to Dallas. This is a 4:25 start on September the 18th, playing at Jerry's World. This is a Dallas team that was kind of Jekyll and Hyde last year. They've certainly had their struggles. Started off hot, but tailed off toward the end of the season. What do you think? Tie. Okay. So far, the Bengals are 0-2.
Wait, that's at Dallas. Dude.
It's at Dallas.
Oh, damn it. This was one of those games I wish I was in Cincinnati.
Okay, why do you say that?
That would be a perfect road trip game. A perfect road trip game. This is one of those times where I could see us, Dave, I don't know, J-Rap, his dad, of Covert, a bunch of people like, hey, let's fly to Dallas for a long weekend. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah.
All right, tentatively circle it on your calendar.
That's a hell of a road trip for me.
So Dallas, they don't scare me that much, to be quite honest. Micah Parsons scares me a lot. Their front.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna say, we still have a left tackle who can't block Myles Garrett. So how do you think he's gonna fare against Micah Parsons?
Okay,
but we're not here for that.
All right, in a close game, I think the Bengals can take care of business at Dallas. So I'm gonna give them the win. They start 2-0 in my book.
Yeah. And that is the first of many late games. So when we talk about European teams in Europe and forming a fan base over here, that 4:25 start is a 10:25 p.m. start for me. So that is a late game, a late game for us.
Yep. So sleep ins Sunday morning and get well rested. Week 3 at the Jets. We know what happened last season at the Jets. The future Hall of Famer Mike White at quarterback for the Jets. One of those letdown games the Bengals are going to have. They're going to have him again this year, more than likely. But the Jets have retooled. On paper, they look tremendously better than they did last season. I'm curious. I'm really interested to see how Sauce and Jamar, how they fare, how that matchup looks, because you have to assume that Sauce is going to guard Jamar Chase.
Not as a rookie.
I don't know. They drafted him 4th overall, so I think he's expected to come in day one and step up.
He don't want that smoke.
Well, we'll see. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm excited to see Sauce Gardner. I'm also excited to see Elijah Vera Tucker, my number 1 guard last year. And I'm also excited to see Carl Lawson and how he bounces back from his injury last year. I hope he bounces back last year. At the same time, I hope he's still a little, rounding into form, I shall say. So yeah, that's going to be a tough game for the New York Jets. Tie.
Okay. I'm going to give the Bengals the win. I think they take care of business at MetLife Stadium. Avenge the loss from last year. So the Bengals start off hot, 3-0. The NFL community, the analysts are saying that the Bengals were no joke last year. They started off 3-0. This team is for real. We should have given them more respect to begin the season.
Well, there's a very few people saying that, dude. We're betting. We're in third place if you wanted to place a bet to win the AFC North.
Right. And that's what I'm saying, though. I'm saying the Bengals start 3-0, and the analysts are saying, wait a minute, we should have given them more respect.
I got you.
Here's the problem, though. In every season, unless we're talking about like Belichick Brady seasons of yore, teams go through slumps. They go through hiccups, kind of like the Bengals did last year. The Miami Dolphins come to Paul Brown Stadium on Thursday, 8:15. This is a short rest for the Bengals. Miami was one of the hottest teams in football to end the year last year. New coach, new receivers, new running backs, new personnel all over the offense and defense. This is a game that I think we start to see what the AFC is made of. There are going to be some teams that we talked about it last week with the AFC West, for example. The AFC East, I think, is not going to be a walk in the park, including the Jets. I think they're going to surprise some folks this year. So give me your first thoughts on that Miami Dolphins game.
My first thought on that Miami Dolphins game is it's at 8:15 on a Thursday. That's my first thought. The hell is this? Everybody wanted to be the Bengals to be so good and so respected, and everybody's so excited about primetime games and late matchups. Like that even matters. Like anybody even really cares. Only thing that we care about are the W's, the wins, the dubs. And we out here 8:15. That's my first thought. 8:15. That is 2:15 in the morning on a Thursday, which means I get usually those nights, I get about an hour of sleep, and then I have to get up and go to work. Except, I can do it because it only happens once or twice a year. I know it's going to happen on a Thursday night, and I know we'll get one more primetime game, and then I'm usually good to go. This year, nope. That's my first thought.
5 primetime games. So all right, so here's my thought. This is the Bengals' first loss. Short rest. Miami comes in hungry. They've reloaded. I think this is one of those letdown games for the Bengals. I think they take their first loss. I'm going to apologize to your students in advance, Glenn, because they're going to have to take the brunt of your sleeplessness and anger. So let me just say sorry to your students in advance, if I may.
Yeah. Say. Do you know how to say that in French?
I do not. You can do it for me.
Désolé.
Okay, there's your French lesson for the day too.
Yeah, no, you have to repeat it. Désolé.
Désolé. All right.
Désolé aux élèves.
Désolé aux élèves.
Ah, Adam. Très bien. Pas mal. Je te vois. Tu as parlé tout comme.
All right. Moving on. Week 5, the Bengals have to travel to Baltimore on a lot of rest. They travel to a Baltimore team. We discussed that last week. They had the best draft in the draft, in my opinion. It's going to be a tough matchup. The Baltimore Ravens, they lost twice to the Bengals last year. They're going to be angry. They're going to be ready for this game. They're going to be the Bengals should be on notice as far as I'm concerned. This is, again, another primetime game, Sunday night, 8:00 Eastern time. Again, I apologize to your students.
How about apologizing to me?
Listen, you've been through this before. You've lived there how many years now?
I've never been through this gauntlet.
No.
Ever.
That's true.
Ever.
That's true.
There are eight 1:00 games. 8. Half the bleeping season, Adam. 8. No, less than half. There's 9. No. The hell am I talking about? There's 17 games now. 8 1:00 games. Oh.
So let's talk about this Baltimore Ravens game. Give me your thoughts.
I think they had a good draft by Bengals fans' estimates, but they're going to be young players. It's going to be interesting. Lamar Jackson, he's going to have a lot of tight ends to throw the ball to. So I'm going to say tie.
All right. So by your measure, the Bengals are now 0-0-5. I'm going to give them.
I call that undefeated.
That is true. It is undefeated. I'm going to give the Bengals a loss here. While they'll be over prepared on paper, if you look at the number of days between games, but I just think it's going to be a tough environment. You know, the start of October, week 5. I think it's going to be a tough game in a hostile environment. I think the Bengals take the loss here. So I have good news for you, Mr. Adams. The good news is that week 6, the Bengals travel to New Orleans, and it's a 1:00 game, which jives with your schedule. The bad news is that they have to travel to New Orleans to play the Saints in New Orleans, however you want to pronounce that. All right, so give me your thoughts.
Nouvelle Orleans.
Okay.
Oh, and
you're telling me I mispronounced it.
And by the way, I've never, not once, not ever heard anybody say here, laissez les bon temps rouler. So take that for what it's worth, you know. But anyway, I think I'll be happy. I'll still be recovering from the 2 prior weeks and the 3 prior weeks and out of 4. But I think once again, my first thought is, damn, if I were still in Cincinnati, damn, if we had a little bit of extra money. An away game at Dallas and an away game at New Orleans, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase heading back to the Bayou. Bengals fans should be excited about this schedule just for those 2 games. Go to Dallas and go to New Orleans. You're not coming over here this year. Take whatever money you had, put to the side, and do that. Go to Dallas and go to New Orleans. I think that's a great opportunity for Bengals fans. So yeah, that's my first thought. And I don't know who their quarterback is going to be.
I'm gonna make the prediction that the quarterback will be Jameis Winston. And I
At week
think
6,
yeah, in week 6. What's the outcome here?
I'm going to say Igala.
Which I presume means tie in France.
Wow.
In French.
T'as vu ça? Tu apprends les trucs? Ah, je suis très fier de toi, mon frère.
See, he's just getting everybody prepped for football to be in Paris here in a couple of years.
No, just you. Just you.
All right. So at Saints, this is going to be a tough game. It's going to be a really tough matchup. You know, the Saints have a new coach this year. They're down a little bit maybe. They added Chris Olave at receiver. They're getting their superstar receiver. Oh my gosh, his name just escaped me. They're getting him back. Help me out.
Thomas.
Thank you. Michael Thomas. You know, Kamara is still there. I think he still has some juice in the tank. New Orleans Saints defense is still very good. So I think it's going to be tough, even though Burrow and Chase and your boy Tyler Shelvin are making the trip back to New Orleans. It's going to be a close game, and I think the Bengals see the wrong end of this. So that's their 3rd loss in a row. Now all the Bengals fans are concerned, wondering what do we do from here? 3-3 record, but the very next week, the Atlanta Falcons come to Paul Brown. It's a 1:00 game, and this is a Falcons team that still has a lot to be desired in terms of talent, competitiveness. Even though they added Drake London, I'm not so sure that Des Ridder will be the quarterback at that point. You know, interesting. First thing that jumps out at you when you see the Falcons coming to Paul Brown Stadium.
Thank goodness it's not a primetime game. Thank goodness it's at 1:00. And I don't think Desmond Ridder will be the quarterback either. Good things.
Yep. The Bengals take care of business here. They win this game, and I think they win it. I think they'll win it fairly handily. So I'm going, whatever you say, I'm just going to leave it up here, right? Like, I'm not going to edit this stuff again any more than I already am. I think after 3 losses in a row, they're going to come in, they're going to be hungry, and they're going to be ready to win. I think you're going to start to see that Bengals vibe like we saw in the postseason. You're going to start to see these guys having fun again. So now they're a 4-3 team. All right. So after the win against the Falcons, I apologize, Glenn. Another primetime game. This is a Monday night game, an 8:15 start at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. This is Halloween night. First thoughts.
All right. So last year, it was a funny story. I'm sitting out there with all my candy and whatnot, and I'm all dressed up in my costume, and I
Dressed
hear
up
from,
as
as the Green Lantern,
okay.
and I hear somebody from across the street, and you hear the kids and stuff, you hear their parents talking, and one of the ladies across the street, she goes, "Hey, let's go to the Americans' house." Oh, the Americans there. I was like, "Hey, I'm famous." I didn't know who they were, the people, but she knew who I was. So I was like, "Yeah." So that's my first thought because it's Halloween on a Monday night, which is not very fun for me as well. Also, a 8:15 game, which is so it's not even a October 31st game for me. It's a November 1st game for me at 2:15 in the morning. And you know what else is Halloween, right? My son's birthday. So yeah. Um yeah. I hate this schedule so much. I hate this schedule so much. So much. So yeah, that's my first thought. Those are my first thoughts.
All right. Well, if I'm going to make a prediction, the Bengals have a couple losses to avenge at the hands of the Cleveland Browns from last year.
Oh yeah. What's up with all the Bengals Browns beef on Twitter this week?
You might have to enlighten us.
Oh, dude, they're like, we're going at it with Browns fans now. I didn't know this was like a thing on Twitter. I guess Cleveland's talking crap because I guess they've won 3 straight. And so all the fans are like, yeah, so Cincinnati's nothing. We're better than Cincinnati. I was like, excuse me, last time I remember we were the ones representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. Brown wipes. And by brown, I mean ass. And all of a sudden, they've just come out the woodwork, started beefing with people on Twitter. And of course, Bengals Twitter can be aggressive.
Yeah.
As Twitter can be in general. So yeah, there's a bunch of beef going on this weekend on Twitter. Bengals Browns beef. But aren't we all from Ohio? Can't we get along?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to get along.
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, me either. All right. So week 8 at Cleveland. Man, for whatever reason, the Bengals have had a tough time with the Browns. I think I'm going to go ahead and I think that the Bengals are going to split with Cleveland this year. So I'm going to give this a loss. We'll come back to Cleveland later. So right now the Bengals, as far as I'm concerned and looking at my predictions, are 4-4. Don't panic yet, Bengals fans. We still have a long way to go.
And they're still undefeated
and they're still undefeated. Yeah, because they're 0-8 according to Glenn. Week 9. They're in the hunt. Week 9, the Bengals host the Carolina Panthers. This is a 1:00 game for you, Glenn. Any thoughts?
I'm mad. I'm tired because of a Monday night game that pretty much throws my whole week into a tailspin. So Sunday, I'm still recuperating. Yeah, I guess I'm happy, but then I gotta look forward to the next week after that. I mean, the schedule is stupid. And where's Joe Brady? Those are my first thoughts.
Yeah, kind of wish he was on the Bengals sideline, but
it's not too late, is it? Where is he?
Kind of. I'm not sure because they let him go in the offseason. I don't know where he went. That's a good question. Leave us a comment if you know. I'm going to give this a win. I think, nothing about the Carolina Panthers really scares me all that bad. So I think they come to Paul Brown. They're still really not clear on who their quarterback's going to be, I don't think. I mean, I think they've kind of said that Darnold is their quarterback, but I think that was just kind of coach speak. So yeah, anyway, I think this is a win for sure. So 5-4. Is this a tie for you?
Let me think. Carolina 1:00 game. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a tie.
Okay.
Yeah.
They tied Carolina back when Cam Newton was quarterback, I think, if I remember correctly. So another tie.
Yeah,
Maybe. I don't know. Week 11 at Pittsburgh. I think that now, again, Glenn, this is a Sunday night 8:20 start. I think this is the 4th of the 5 primetime games, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. All right. So besides being peeved at the fact that you have to go to bed late again, what do you think?
I'm going to give the Bengals the dub here.
Okay.
Win.
I am too. I am too. I think the Bengals sweep the Steelers as they did last year. So I'm going to give the Bengals the win. Next week, they have to travel to Tennessee at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, 1:00 game. Of course, Tennessee is one of the opponents that they beat in the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see how Tannehill starts the season and if they switch to the quarterback out of Liberty, Malik Willis, who was one of the higher quarterback prospects in the NFL draft, higher rated, I should say. So give me your thoughts there.
One of those games where if I were in Cincinnati, we would have to go to an away game. Nashville, man, last time I was in Nashville with Dave and Sean and my lovely wife, Marie, she's writing on the walls like any good girl from Marseille would when we're going into the bars and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that would be a great game to go to as a Bengals fan. Away game. This schedule is full of those.
Is this a Roger McCreary v. Jamar Chase?
At this point, we're going to be talking about Roger McCreary as a possible candidate for Defensive Player of the Year.
Not rookie defensive player. You're saying defensive player.
Rookie defensive
All right.
player of the year. He's going to make a big impact for them.
So does he shut down Jamar Chase?
Oh no, hell no. Oh no,
Okay.
no.
All right. I am going to give the Bengals the win here. They right now they're showing some momentum after beating Carolina, Pittsburgh, and then Tennessee. The record now would stand theoretically at 7-4. Now, at this point, and this is and I forgot to mention we had a bye between the Panthers and Steelers games. Week 13. This is going to presumably be one of the better NFL games of the week. You have Kansas City coming to Paul Brown Stadium. We know what happened last year. The Chiefs are going to be hungry. They're going to want to get some retribution on what happened last year. 4:25 start on December 4th. What do you think?
I think that's a late game. I think that's a 10:25 p.m. start for me. It finishes at 1:00 or a little about right there in the morning. I'm not going to be happy. Yeah, those are my first thoughts. Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I'm going to give the Bengals the win here because I'm tired of them too. That's becoming a bit of a rivalry.
Yeah, and the thing is too, if you look at last year, the Bengals they tended to underachieve versus lesser opponents and overachieve versus better opponents. Although this time, I think the Chiefs do come in and win this game. I just think that after what they went through last year, I think they'll be ready. They've retooled some on offense. Of course, Tyreek Hill's not there anymore, but defensively, they're a lot better. They've added some pieces in the secondary and as well on the defensive line. There's been a lot of buzz about George Karlaftis, who they drafted out of Purdue. So in a very close game, I'm going to go ahead and give Kansas City the win on this one. All right. So right now, 7-5 record. Week 14, Cleveland comes to Paul Brown Stadium. I told you that I feel like the Bengals are going to split with the Browns. This is a win for the Bengals as far as I'm concerned. What are your thoughts on this game? This is, again, December 11th at 1:00.
Yeah, go ahead. Give the Bengals the win.
All right. Here's an aside. Who's going to be the Cleveland Browns quarterback?
Who will be the Bengals? Week 14?
Week 14.
Deshaun Watson.
Okay. Baker Mayfield is still on the team. Deshaun Watson, it's still yet to be determined if there's going to be any suspensions handed down by Commissioner Goodell.
He might miss the first eight games, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So Deshaun Watson comes to Cincinnati. I do remember that primetime game when he was with the Texans and visited the Bengals, and it was quite embarrassing for the Bengals defense. So, but this is a new Bengals team. All right. So this game is very interesting to me. This is week 15. It's December 18th, 4:25 start at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay. Tom Brady, a Tampa Bay team that tends to overachieve. I feel they'll still be pretty relevant this season. What are your thoughts?
The official, if it hasn't been official yet, the official passing of the torch. Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, and we go from there.
I like it.
Those are that's my first thought. Second thought, 4:25. Get out of here.
So again, a late night for you. So my thought is that I think the Bengals win this game. I think Tampa, I think they're going to disappoint a little bit this year. Like I said, I still think they're going to be relevant. I still think they're going to be good. But I think at this point, we kind of start to see some of the cracks in the organization. Bruce Arians isn't there anymore, you know. So while they still have a talented team, I think the Bengals take care of business. At this point, that puts them at 9-5, and they travel to Mr. Tom Brady's former team.
To New England.
On to New England. This is a Saturday start. This is Christmas Eve. It's a 1:00 start. It's at Gillette Stadium. What do you think?
I think at this point, I'm going to have to look for a nice divorce lawyer because I'm going to be in a crappy mood. The Bengals better win all these games because I'm going to be in a crappy mood. We're going to get to this game. It's on Christmas Eve. You know what they do here on Christmas Eve? At least in my wife's family, they do Christmas dinner on Christmas Eve. I will never forget. I was sitting with her family the year that Jerome Simpson did the front flip into the end zone, and I'm watching it on my iPad on my legs like this at the dinner table. And when he front flipped, I'm like, yes. And I'm like, I can't get away with that anymore because Marie's grandmother wasn't happy. She's like, that's not. So yeah, and so this is on Christmas Eve, so I'm gonna have to choose between the Bengals and my wife's family, and I'm pretty sure that the Bengals are gonna win this matchup, and just like they're gonna win the matchup against the New England Patriots. And I believe Bill Belichick might be about this point. I'm gonna say something controversial. He might be on his way out of New England. You heard it.
Pretty saucy. First. That's pretty saucy.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is going to be one of those letdown games. I think they're going to go into Gillette. They have a good home crowd. Belichickian Patriots team. They're always relevant. I'm going to give the Patriots the win here, giving the Bengals their 6th loss.
You think Marcus Jones is going to return a punt on us for a touchdown?
Ooh. Let's make that prediction, shall we?
I don't want to make that prediction. Right. I hate this prediction crap.
All right. So Glenn just predicted that Marcus Jones is going to return a punt against the Bengals. I
asked the question.
So that puts the Bengals at 9-6. Now we turn to the 5th and final regular season, let's hope, primetime game of the season. Monday night. I'm sorry. Are you talking about flexing?
I'm talking about it's to be determined.
Okay. So the Bills come to Paul Brown Stadium. It's a Monday night game, 8:30. Many would argue that the Bills are the AFC favorites this season. I'm really excited for this game. Let's put it this way. I hope I'm excited for this game at this point. I think it's going to be, a matchup of two Titans, two quarterbacks at the top of their game. What stands out to you on this Monday night game besides it being too late for you?
Did you say two Titans on purpose or?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I think that it should be a good, exciting game. I'm looking forward to it as well. And luckily it's at home because I would not want to visit Buffalo.
Oh, definitely agree.
In December.
If it's at Buffalo, I think,
in January.
I think it's going to be an outstanding game. I'm going to give the edge, though, to the Bills.
Dude, it's going to be 2023.
Oh, you're right. That's the day after New Year's Day.
Wow.
Holy smokes. I'm going to give the Bills the edge here just because it's going to be really, really difficult. It's just going to be difficult to beat a team that I think will have momentum leading up to that point. There's going to be playoff implications on the line. The only thing I can think of is that maybe the Bills will have clinched a division at that point, and maybe there's not as much emphasis on winning this game necessarily. So that's the only thing I could think of. But at this point, that tells me that the Bengals would be 9-7. Week 18 TBD. It's at Paul Brown Stadium. It's against the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Bengals win this game. I think they take care of business. I think a 10-7 Bengals team gets them into the playoffs, and I think that if it's anything like last season, they get hot in the playoffs, and I think they make a run. So, what are your thoughts?
I think the Bengals lose this game. They sit all their starters because they've already wrapped up the number 1 seed.
Okay, I like that.
And no, I'm not taking any bets on any of this.
All right. So My math tells me that's a 10-7 Bengals team. What's your prediction on their final record?
I think it was 3-1 and quick math. What is that? How many games are there?
13.
13. 3-1 and 13.
Okay. All right. So you heard it here first, Bengals fans.
Oh, that's almost like a 5-1-3. Oh, damn it. How come I didn't do a 5-1? Oh, now we have to record all this over again.
Oh,
damn it.
So
a 5,
all right.
a 1, and a 3.
We're spitballing here. We're having fun. But anyway, we'd love to know your thoughts. Those of you watching at home, tell us what you think. What's your predictive record? Give us your thoughts on the upcoming season and on the schedule. Glenn, anything else to add?
And like Jay-Z said, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to spend some time with us. So we thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So until next time, wish everyone a safe and happy week next week. Until next time, have a great day. Have a Who Day.
Who Day.
See ya.